What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. Another Thursday, another Simply Sessions, filling you in on the latest and greatest in Bitcoin, both the news and the tech updates. Nico will be joining me as he's en route to LA and traveling about, but we've got it all here for you. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure you do a like, make sure you subscribe, hit that little button. It's right below right now. If you do that, it really does help the show and it pleases those algorithmic gods to get this content in front of more eyeballs. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. That is super important as well. Anyways, guys, we're going to dive in. I am Ben with BTC Sessions. This is your Simply Session.
HODL the Bitcoin.
Before we dive in, shout out to sponsors of the show, HodlHodl.com. If you're stacking sats and you've got some priorities in mind like peer-to-peer trading, instant self-custody, and no KYC, this is the place to be. You can sign up with an email address, nothing more necessary. Scroll down, choose a currency, a payment method, and an amount, and you can start browsing offers immediately and stacking those non-KYC sats. You can also check out their lending platform in which nothing is ever rehypothecated. I'll be doing a video on that soon. Anyways, check them out. Links are down below. Now, when you do stack those non-KYC sats, you're going to want to secure it with some of the best hardware on the market. CoinKite is always killing it. The Cold Card Mark IV, that is my go-to hardware wallet of choice. I've got a ton of other CoinKite gear like the Tap Signer, the Sats card, the Block Clock, the Open Dimes, and I can't wait till later on, I believe near the end of the year. Cold Card Q1 should be dropping. I've already reserved mine, have you? If you want to, or if you want to pick up anything else I mentioned, be sure to head to coinkite.com, use code BTC Sessions for 5% off everything in the store. And if you're going to be in LA for Pacific Bitcoin the day after, I'm doing a cold card workshop. I'm also going to be doing a multi-sig workshop with Tap Signer and Nunchuk Wallet. Check that out. Stay tuned to the end of the video. I'll give you all the details on that. Anyways, moving on. Saylor. Have you guys seen this? If you back up all of your important wallets, you're going to want it first, not have it on paper because fire damage, water damage, any stuff, any number of things could happen that could compromise your seed. So you're going to want to get in steel. But what is the most robust steel backup on the market? In my opinion, Saylor. They are killing it. It's got this disc and capsule design. They've battle tested it. It's got that Jameson Lopp stamp of approval. They put it through a hydraulic press. They've corroded it. They've put it through a house fire, all kinds of great stuff. And this thing is designed beautifully. It comes in a huge package with a mallet and 2 full seed phrases with their starter kit. And yeah, the whole thing is just wonderful. I'm going to be doing a video on the whole setup soon, so keep your eyes peeled. But if you're looking to grab one, head over to Saylor.io. There's a link down below. You can click that one if you want to help the show in the process. If you're looking to dive into multisig, of course, Nunchuk, I talk about them a bunch, and I'm going to be doing a workshop in LA. But these guys have their assisted multisig Honey Badger program in which you can easily set up a multisig on your mobile device with things like the Tap Signer, the Cold Card, a ton of other hardware options, and it walks you through the whole thing. It's incredible. On top of this, it has built-in inheritance planning so that your sats will get to your next of kin, and the whole thing is KYC free. You do not have to provide your private information to set it up and have it work for you. If you're curious, check out nunchuk.io, and you can check out my tutorial on YouTube. And finally, Start9, your sovereign computing solution. Love these guys. I run this. What is it? It's a plug and play device that allows you to run a whole bunch of different things. Your Bitcoin stack, that includes things like Bitcoin Core, Lightning, mempool.space, join market for privacy. You can also host your data, files, passwords, photos, all kinds of great stuff. They have everything from entry-level devices all the way up to what I'm running, which is the Server Pure, an absolute beast and a powerhouse, and it worked beautifully, and I could access it remotely every time I'm traveling the globe. So be sure to check them out, start9.com, and I've got a ton of tutorials in and around different applications and how to set it up. Anyways, with that, let's dive into the news. Take it away, Nico, my friend.
Yo, welcome to another Simply Sessions. couldn't do it live. I'm currently traveling to LA. I will be in LA, and I wasn't able to do the live episode with Ben. But don't worry, we're going to hold it down. We have a lot of news to cover today. First, we're going to start off with the big splash. And of course, what I'm referencing is something that Michael Saylor said. He said that 3 things needed to happen in order for Bitcoin to hit $5 million. Now, the thing that I'm referring to, and it's quite boring for people that aren't really paying attention to, but what he's referring to is the Financial Accounting Standards Boards and how they needed to change some of the regulations and some of the rules in order for public companies to be incentivized to adopt Bitcoin, because under the current reporting standard, they're actually de-incentivized to adopt something like Bitcoin. And Michael Saylor said about a year ago in this Spaces clip that I'm about to play for you guys, that this is one of the 3 reasons, is reason number 3, that needed to happen in order for the paradigm shift to occur. Now, it's really interesting because the first reason was him mentioning an ETF. So it's crazy. This is where we are at the movie. One of the 3 things that needed to happen in order for Bitcoin to hit $5 million, according to Michael Saylor, happened today. Anyways, I'm going to play you guys the clip and then we'll jump into the article.
Because I know that, like Tim Cook, I don't know where it came from earlier this week. He said something like, I own some Bitcoin, but we have no designs on anything. Or I don't know if he said Bitcoin or crypto in general. Is that the thing? And then
I think there's 3 big. Look, first of all, it's going up by a factor of 10 whether they fix any of this stuff, right? It's going to be a grind up by a factor of 10 just because gold is broken and Bitcoin's going to replace gold. And now everybody in the universe knows they need a non-sovereign store of value in the form of a bearer instrument. So now they're looking, the amount of stories, for last year, people said inflation may be coming, we're not sure. Now the mainstream narrative is flipped to inflation is here, you need an inflation hedge. So it's going to grind up to replace gold. It'll go to $500,000 a coin, regardless of whether they fix these things. But there are 3 things that are massive catalysts that cause an acceleration. And I don't think that those 3 things don't take us to 500,000. They take us to 5 million a coin, right? Those 3 things are a spot ETF where someone can go ahead and buy $100 million of Bitcoin, buy a security, an ETF security. I think that's 1. 2 is your bank is going to custody it for you and lend against it. And 3 is I can mark it up or mark it down on my balance sheet based on fair value. Pari passu. It'll be pari passu to the way I'd handle Apple stock, or at least that good. If you have property with fair value accounting, by the way, it becomes pari passu to the way you'd handle treasury bonds on a treasury balance sheet. Treasuries are better than stocks because treasury is property, whereas a stock is a security, and you're capped out at 40% of your balance sheet as security. So it would be a...
So he's referencing, and what we're going to reference today is number 3. So what happened? And here is the Bitcoin magazine article that jumps into the details. In a long anticipated move, Bloomberg Tax reported that the Financial Accounting Standards Boards is set to introduce new fair value accounting rules for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. These new rules aim to provide a more accurate reflection of the market value of digital assets and bring greater transparency to the financial reporting of companies that hold cryptocurrencies. The rules, expected to be published by the end of the year, are set to go into effect as soon as 2025, but companies will be able to apply them earlier than that, the report said. For years, the valuation of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin has been a challenging aspect of financial reporting for companies. The volatile nature of these digital assets has made it difficult to accurately assess their fair market value. Under the current accounting standards, companies often struggle to present a true picture of their financial health as the value of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies fluctuate wildly. The FASB's move to introduce fair value accounting rules will require companies to regularly assess the fair market value of their digital assets and report any fluctuations in value as part of their financial statements. This means that if the price of Bitcoin surges or plummets, companies will have to reflect these changes in their financial reports, providing stakeholders with a more accurate picture of their financial position. The old treatment accounted for Bitcoin as an intangible asset, which meant if the price went lower than what companies bought it for, Therefore, they had to take an impairment charge on their books, even if they didn't sell. But if the price went up, they couldn't receive any benefit on their books unless they sold. Now, with fair value accounting, periodically, companies can report the unrealized gains and losses to get an actual benefit on their books if the price of the asset increases without having to sell to capture it. This could make companies more likely to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet and become long-term hodlers, as they can report the appreciation without having to sell anything. And this is what Michael Saylor was referring to. Now, I get that it's accounting. I get that it sounds boring, but from the public company adoption front, this is a massive, massive deal. And again, not coming out of my mouth, coming out of Michael Saylor's mouth. This is one of the three things that needed to happen in Michael Saylor's perspective, in order for Bitcoin to hit $5 million a coin. Now, the first thing was a spot ETF. We know how that's going on with BlackRock. And the second thing was banks having the ability to take Bitcoin under custody. And we had a lot of news coming from banks all over the world that they were applying for licenses to do just that. In other news, this is awesome. El Salvador to introduce Bitcoin in schools by 2024. Now, this is absolutely massive. I think that this whole thing in Bitcoin is going to be a generational thing. I think a lot of people have spent their entire lives in the fiat matrix. They're accustomed to the convenience of outsourcing the personal responsibility of their wealth to a third party, and they've been accustomed to using a money that is issued by the government. They seek comfort in that. Maybe they seek security in that, especially if you lived in the developed world. Have you ever asked yourself why they don't they educate people about money in public schools? Why don't they educate people about finance? It's a very, very big coincidence. And it seems like Nayib Bukele is doing the exact opposite. The new generation of El Salvadorian children, which are going to be the new generation, eventually they're going to be adults, they're going to be orange pilled since day one. Absolutely bullish. And again, once again, shout out to Nayib Bukele. Check out this other article saying the quiet part out aloud. A quick update on the central bank digital currency front. CBDCs will put private banks out of work, says Russian official. The digital ruble will make commercial banks mostly useless, according to a Russian official. The change will happen gradually and transfer the control over the money system into the hands of central banks. Also know into the hands of the state, really. So forget about your Wells Fargo account, forget about your Bank of America account, or forget about, whatever your bank is in your country. No, you're going to have a direct relationship with the state, and they're the ones going to be holding your money. So when I say Bitcoin or slavery, I am literally not exaggerating. That's literally the two futures that we have ahead of us, and you got to decide. And shout out to the Atlantic Council for making it very convenient. They literally came up with a map with a diagram of literally showing you where the CBDCs, where they stand in every single country around the world, right? Literally, if you scroll over Europe, it tells you something. In the United States, it's in development. In China, there's a pilot. It's retail, wholesale. In Russia, it's very similar. So this is the future that you have. They're rolling this out. This is not a Bitcoiners conspiracy theory. Governments are hell-bent on being the controllers of money. Right? So you got to decide. Do you want to participate in that or do you not? That's up to you. Remember the Canadian truckers protest. Anyways, inflation-ridden Turkey turns to Bitcoin. Will the rest of the world follow? Now, the numbers on this, which is why I wanted to bring it up, are absolutely startling. Now, Turkey is currently enduring ridiculous double-digit inflation, so it makes sense as to why people are going to seek an alternative. Last time, I think it was like 59%, if my memory serves me correctly. But what's really interesting is the amount of adoption. This is absolutely bonkers. Check this out. On Friday, September 1st, crypto exchange KuCoin released a report highlighting Turkey's growing trend of crypto investments. The study revealed that the percentage of crypto investors in Turkey aged 18 to 60 surged from 40% in November 2021 to 52% by May 2023, according to the data, most 71% invested in Bitcoin. Now, this should not be surprising. Bitcoin has actually made all-time highs in Turkey not too long ago. And if you live in Argentina, Bitcoin is making all-time highs, as in this last month or very recently, right? So it goes to show. In the developed world, people don't have that incentive to seek an alternative, but in the developing world, it's a whole different story. People don't really have a choice, right? So it's fascinating. Shout out to the Turks, shout out to Turkey for figuring it out and jumping off ship and jumping onto the party of freedom, the Orange Party, the Bitcoin Party, the lifeboat. Anyways, guys, this was your Simply Sessions. I will see you on the next one. Ben, peace out. Everybody who's watching, peace out, everybody.
Thank you so much, buddy. And thank you for doing this on the fly. Let's dive into the tech updates for all of you. First up, very excited about this. BTC Pay Server partners with Spiral and LDK to develop the BTC Pay app. If you're unfamiliar with BTC Pay Server, basically it's software that allows you to run any sort of point of sale, whether it be online or whether it be an in-person terminal, so that you can accept Bitcoin payments, do easy, a store with, a cart that you can fill, all that kind of stuff. It allows for instant conversion between, fiat current, not converting, but like getting a value of fiat versus Bitcoin so that you can charge appropriately in your local currency. And they are looking to create a BTC Pay app. So what is this? It is basically an application to help brick and mortar businesses accept non-custodial Lightning payments on mobile. So NFC, accounting, receipts, refunds, Lightning node on a phone, LSPs or Lightning Service Providers integrated, non-custodial, and easy to use. So it says not everyone knows how to deploy a server, but everyone can run an app on their phone. We've teamed up with Spiral and LDK to begin working on the BTC Pay app, aiming to replicate the success and impact of BTC Pay Server for e-commerce payments. The BTC Pay app is laser focused on brick and mortar businesses. To scale Bitcoin effectively, Lightning must be user-friendly and non-custodial. For mom and pop stores, we're beginning a long journey, but it's the only way to stay on track with our mission, ensuring anyone can accept Bitcoin anywhere, anytime, without intermediaries. If anybody can do this, it's BTC Pay. I love these guys. They're incredible. They're knocking it out of the park. So I'm very excited to see this when it starts to come to fruition. Of course, I will be front and center creating a tutorial for you. So keep an eye out. I wanted to bring up this one. Support for Mercury Wallet to be discontinued as developers focus on Mercury Layer. Now, I've done a video on Mercury Wallet a little while back, maybe 2 years ago, I think. Anyways, very interesting. It is privacy preserving and scaling, kind of both in one. And so what it does is, if you're familiar with an open dime or a Sats card, basically creating pieces of Bitcoin that can then be physically transferred without any sort of on-chain footprint. So, you load up an open dime. Okay, great. There's a transaction loading up that open dime. And the appeal of the open dime is that you can pass it physically without worry that the person who previously held it could sweep off the funds. And so with Mercury Wallet, what it was doing was effectively creating a digital version of that, where you would maybe create a UTXO that was like 100,000 sats or 1,000,000 sats or whatever. And instead of trading the coins on chain back and forth to get additional privacy, you would actually, through a mechanism which prevents somebody from stealing back their funds, trade the private keys. And it was done with a coordinator, and there's some technical stuff with it. If you're curious, go back and watch that video because it explains a little bit more. But yeah, basically being able to swap Bitcoin UTXOs without any indication that anything happened on chain. And so this wallet allowed you to do that, but it was not censorship resistant, meaning that if the government were to kick in the door and say, hey, you're not allowed to do this anymore, they could shut down the coordinator. Well, this is now the focus of the developers here is Mercury Layer. It's a layer 2 protocol for Bitcoin that enables the self-custodial transfer of coins or UTXOs without on-chain transactions. And the quotes here say, as we move forward with our brand new blinded MPC off-chain layer, we will be discontinuing support for Mercury Wallet. Services will remain available for a 3-month period, which is the duration of a state coin. This uses state chains is what it's called. And it says, look out for production release of Mercury Layer. It says Mercury Layer will be live by Q4. We will provide a default wallet on mercurywallet.com. Stay tuned, working on mobile and desktop support with Lightning Network integration. And that's from Nicholas Gregory, great guy that I got to meet a couple of different times. But yeah, this is exciting. Again, I think a lot of people are sleeping on state chains, and in particular, Mercury Layer. Like if you can be using Lightning and being able to transact with no on-chain footprint, I mean, it's definitely just another tool in the tool belt to help with privacy and scaling. And I think that's a fantastic thing. So again, hats off to them. Check out mercurylayer.com if you're curious about how this stuff works. Moving on. I had to bring this up because it's just another example of why we Bitcoin. So new KYC/AML, so know your customer or anti-money laundering compliance protocol proposed by Ethereum founder Vitalik Buterin. Vitalik collaborated with surveillance firm Chainalysis to produce a paper on regulated privacy using privacy pools. In the proposal, privacy services users would generate zero knowledge proof to prove their funds are associated with approved sets of past deposits. Good God. Okay, let me read this first and then we'll rant about it after. The core idea of the proposal is to allow users to publish zero knowledge proof, demonstrating that their funds do not originate from known unlawful sources without publicly revealing their entire transaction graph. This is achieved by proving membership in custom association sets that satisfy certain properties required by regulation or social consensus. Privacy pools, like systems, allows users to achieve more privacy around their financial transaction data while retaining the ability to prove their dissociation with known illicit activity. We expect that honest users will be incentivized to participate in such a scheme by a combination of two factors. One, the desire for privacy, and two, the desire to avoid suspicion. The proposal may be a first step towards a future where people could prove regulatory compliance without having to reveal their entire transaction history, the report authors wrote. Okay, here's the fucking problem, guys. Who decides who is an honest user and who decides what is illicit activity? Because depending where you are in the globe, that could be very different things. What happens if you're a Hong Kong protester? What happens if you're a Canadian trucker? What happens if you are a dissenter in any host of a number of nations with tyrannical governments? The rule of law is great until the rule of law shifts to step on its citizenry. And again, the whole point of these systems of Bitcoin is to keep governments in check. And one of the best things about Bitcoin is that it forces even the government to play by its own rules. Like if they want to, in the legacy system, if they want to just shut down somebody's access to legacy finance, if they just want to shut down bank accounts, they can do that and then ask questions later. With Bitcoin, they actually have to go through a process where they say, we believe this person is doing something bad. Well, they actually have to go through processes to actually physically go and get those things. Obviously, in some nations, those processes are not going to be great, but at least it puts a barrier between them and the individual and the individual's finances. And when you create a system that basically needs a government seal of approval of what's allowed, then at what point do we see that overreach, right? We've already seen it with social media. We've already seen admissions from 3-letter agencies basically saying like, oh yeah, we have regular meetings with Facebook or Meta. We have regular meetings, used to be with Twitter, and we would brief them on what was okay to be said and what should be taken away and what should be prevented from proliferating. And we will basically create the narrative. What is to stop in this type of thing? If they were to implement this type of proposal, this compliance protocol on, something like Ethereum, what's stopping the government from, again, calling up the Ethereum Foundation and being like, hey, here is what's allowed and what's not. And these people that are saying bad things about the president, or these people that don't agree with the current administration's narrative, whether that be Republican or Democrat, or in Canada, whether that be the Liberals or the Conservatives or the NDP or whatever, it doesn't matter, because all you need to do as an individual is you need to think out beyond who's currently in power and just picture the worst person you can imagine getting into office. Picture the politician you hate the most and imagine them running your country, and imagine the things that you hold dear and they don't. Imagine them saying that's illicit activity, and anybody partaking in that, well, we're gonna make sure that they're not allowed any privacy. And on top of that, imagine trying to maintain privacy and going to utilize one of these tools and discovering that your funds are deemed to be illicit. What kind of data capturing might be present in those processes? Like, sure, you might not show the entire history of your transaction graph, but you might be leaking an IP address. And if you think that they're not going to employ types of things like that in concert with technology like this, you got another thing coming. Anyways, this is why we Bitcoin, because this is not even going to be a conversation when it comes to Bitcoin. Like, that's just not. Sure, there might be services, as there already are, that say, oh yeah, no, we'll let you coin join if you're pre-approved by Chainalysis. But there's still other tools that allow you to sidestep that. Anyways, the creator of Ethereum co-penned this proposal. Amazing. Okay, moving on. I just wanted to give a shout out to Lynn Alden. Her book Broken Money just recently came out. It's on Amazon. I ordered a copy. It's beastly. It's like 500 something pages. I love Lynn. She's awesome. And I also want to say a huge thanks to Lynn. She had some very kind words about myself in the final chapter. There's like 4.5, 5 pages, something, all about the Canadian trucker protests and all of that. And it was really cool to be in this book in any capacity. So thanks, Lynn. Very kind of you to include me there and talk about kind of what happened in Canada. So I thought that was awesome. Earlier, I'm working on something actually. I'm playing around with SimpleX Chat. So it's an encrypted messenger in the vein of privacy, as we were talking about. End-to-end encrypted, onion routed, self-hosted local notifications. And so if you haven't played around with it, you should check it out. But the reason I'm playing with that is because it is a service that can be run on your Start9 server, as I am doing. And so I started playing around. I think I'm going to do a video on this. On occasion, I like diving into Bitcoin adjacent technologies, just in the vein of self-sovereignty. And I think that privacy is one of those things that the more people learn about it and they are aware of and maybe use the tools, the better. So I'll probably be touching on that. Earlier this week, I dropped a tutorial on Coldcard, but not in the way you might suspect. Did you know that Coldcard also doubles as a password manager? You can create, for every seed phrase that you have, you can create 10,000 uniquely generated passphrases, which is really cool. So I did a video on how that works. Super cool. Check it out. And then finally, tomorrow, very excited. I've got Opti coming for Why Are We Bullish? Opti from Simply Bitcoin. We've also got Joey from the Canadian Bitcoiners podcast. Very excited about that. And then we've got Ivan from Breeze Wallet, Lightning Wallet, and yeah. Very excited to have all these gentlemen on. It should be a good time. Make sure you don't miss it. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It should be an absolute blast. So, who here is coming to Pacific Bitcoin? I'm very excited about it. It's just around the corner, less than a month now. Holy hell. Anyways, last year, it was one of my favorite events. I really had such a good time. And it was such a unique time because FTX imploded while we were there at the conference. And rather than being, the price is down, nobody mentioned the price at all. And the whole event was basically just a giant victory lap of, of course this was going to happen. Everybody told you so. Just another nail in the coffin of quote unquote crypto. So a lot has happened since then. And SBF is now in prison just a year later. Interesting. Anyways, I'm going to be down at Pacific Bitcoin. It should be a great time. If you're going, head to pacificbitcoin.com if you don't have tickets yet. And you can use a code that will get you 21% off. Code is just sessions. Nice and simple. Sessions. And get that 21% discount off the tickets. And also, if you're going to be at Pacific Bitcoin and you're hanging around the next day on the 7th, so Pacific Bitcoin is October 5th and 6th in LA. The next day, I am doing my workshop series. So 2 workshops. Workshop number 1 is how do you use Nunchuk Wallet? How do you use the tap signer? And how do you use both of them to create a multisig wallet on your mobile device? We're going to go through the whole gamut of how all of those things work and how you can put them together to do multisig on your own, on your mobile. So if you want that, you can come check it out. There's tickets available, and you can also pre-order a tap signer bundle to pick up at the event. I also have my Coldcard deep dive workshop, and what that is we are going to work on setting up your Coldcard, backing it up properly, using it on desktop with Sparrow Wallet, learning how to do air-gapped transactions, and then also being able to wipe and restore your device entirely. On top of that, we're going to dive into some of the advanced features of the Coldcard. You'll walk out of that place being one of the best Bitcoin Coldcard experts on the planet. I promise you that. You'll be far more knowledgeable than most people on Coldcard. And so there's both of those happening on the same day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. I do have deals. If you go to both, you can get a dual ticket. And of course, you can pre-order the Coldcard bundle and everything you need that will be available for pickup. Where the hell can you do this? Well, you can just head to my website, btcsessions.ca. Over on the right-hand side, there's a section for in-person workshops that you can click on and grab tickets. There's limited space. So if you do want to come, you should grab tickets sooner rather than later because it will fill up. In Miami, it was totally full, and people that were asking at the event, there was nothing left. So grab it while you can. Also, if you're on the website and you just want some personal one-on-ones, you can book me for one-on-one sessions there as well. Anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap up here and let me just do my little transition here. But anyways, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here, for being in the chat, for all of that, and for being part of the show. Of course, as always, hit that little like button down below. That helps a ton. It gets us in front of more eyeballs. Give it a share. And of course, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. I'm trying to pump those numbers up, son. I just went over 80K not too long ago, already at 81 now, and I'm gunning for that 100K. I want it so bad. I can taste it. I'm gonna get that silver Bitcoin, that silver YouTube play button. So hit that subscribe button, and you will make me a very happy man. Anyways, guys, thanks a lot. Have a great day or evening, wherever you may be. See you next time for your Simply Session.